Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining our webinar. My name is Trine Petersen. I'm a fertility doctor and head of the clinic at StorkKlinik. What we're going to do this evening is that we're going to go through very shortly just the process of starting fertility treatment in Denmark, the considerations that you have, and you'll be able to ask questions. I know it's a very big decision to start a family and maybe even a family of your own. And also considering using a donor. So that's why I've brought two experts with me this evening. First of all is Marie-Louise from European Sperm Bank. Would you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Marie-Louise. I've been with European Sperm Bank for almost 10 years by now, working at customer service. Been working in fertility business for more than 15 years. So we're very happy to guide you.
And then also we're very fortunate to have the gorgeous Holly Ryan tuning in from the UK, talking about how it is to have two children with a sperm donor. So we're looking forward to listening to Holly. And Holly, would you say what that is about?
Yes, of course. I'd be very happy to. So it's it's a great pleasure to be brought into this webinar to talk about my journey and how I became a mum of two kids on my own.
Great, thank you so much. So we have an agenda for this evening, and the webinar is scheduled to be just around 45 minutes. So first of all, we're going to hear a little bit about StorkKlinik and also why it would be a good idea to start treatment in Denmark. Then Marie-Louise will talk to you about choosing your own sperm donor. Paul will talk about the two children, and then we'll sum up with some questions and answers, hopefully. We also have some house rules. First of all, you're not on camera, so we can't see you and we can't hear you, but we would love to hear from you. So please ask a lot of questions during the webinar, and we'll try to answer them all. If we don't answer them in this session, then we'll try to answer them afterwards. Of course, we'll send the recording to you tomorrow with the start as well. And if you have the questions, you can just write in the small box. When we've ended our webinar, we will also send you a survey to try to find out whether we can actually learn something from this 45 minutes. And we would also like to know more about you. So we would send out small polls during the webinar to find out where you are and what considerations that you can have. And I can see the first one is already there. So how far along are you in your fertility journey? You're still considering? You've decided to go abroad, you're in contact with a fertility clinic, and none of the above. So please give in your questions. We don't have to study. So you might be considering, why are they speaking in English, since it's people are reaching out from Norway and Sweden. So many of you probably do understand Danish. Well, we've talked about it, and we do speak both Norwegian and Swedish at both the StorkKlinik and European Sperm Bank. But we know that this setup can maybe be difficult to understand because we can speak fast. So just to make sure that everybody gets what we're saying, we will do it in English. So let's begin with the first presentation of the StorkKlinik. The StorkKlinik was actually, I can't see. Yes, we have a first technical differences. That is how I can see your poll, but I can't see our slides. So first of all, why should you consider coming to Denmark? The legislation on this area is changing by the hour. So we know that right now, fortunately, the legislation has changed in Norway, and congratulations with that. We're very happy for you in Norway. What we would like to focus on is the differences between the Scandinavian countries and why for you it may be an advantage to come to Denmark instead of getting treatment in Sweden and Norway. First of all, now, you know that the rules are very similar in the countries, but one important difference for these things is that when you have your treatment done in Denmark, you're actually able to choose your own donor. We know that in northern Sweden, you can see that usually it is the clinic that will choose the donor for you. Furthermore, there can be issues regarding whether it's anonymous or a donor that is being able to be contacted when the private patient is. And then also there can be an issue with the age. But that can change from region to region in Sweden and in Norway also. So please find out whether there can be any local rules regarding the age in starting treatment. And then we'll go to the next thing about StorkKlinik. The StorkKlinik actually turned 20 years old in the fall. And the StorkKlinik was initiated by midwife Tina Stork. She was a pioneer in Denmark, and she fought tirelessly for the rights of lesbian and single women. And that was because that she herself tried to have a child being in a lesbian relationship. And that means that actually she was able to change the legislation in 2007. The StorkKlinik has then been bought up in 2014 as a part of Vidamil and is now a part of the fertility partnership, which is one of the largest fertility chains in Northern Europe, with more than 25,000 IVF cycles and 19 clinics. So why should you choose the StorkKlinik? If you could please change the slides. I have an assistant over here helping us. The StorkKlinik receives patients from all over the world, and it's actually quite amazing when we have all these greetings from moms and dads throughout the world. And every year we try to meet up, having a meeting where the children can meet each other, and we call it the Stork meeting. And also, the StorkKlinik is familiar by it's known that because it's very warm and very cozy. And if you could please skip the slide. And what we do is take great pride in trying to design our rooms to have a more homey feeling. So you don't feel that you're in a clinic or in a hospital, but actually you feel at home. It's very easy to access. It's in the middle of the Copenhagen, and you can get by train and also by airplane. And we also provide your own room for each treatment. We're fertility experts, and we also take the pride of having trying to give you an individual assessment and trying to listen to your needs to find out what you want with your fertility treatment. And right now we don't have any waiting time at all. This is the thing. So the StorkKlinik is a large clinic. We do about 1,000 fresh IVF cycles per year, 700 frozen cycles, 2,000 inseminations with donor sperm, and also 200 treatments with oocyte donations. It's the clinic in Denmark with the most oocyte donations per year. The ones who can help is actually everybody. We can help heterosexual couples, we can help single women, we can help lesbian couples, because the legislation in Denmark is very liberal. Right now, we don't have a waiting list for fertility treatment and for egg donation, depending on which donor type you wish to use. So waiting times.
So like I said, we're fertility experts with the 20 years of experience. And what kind of treatments do we do in the StorkKlinik? Well, we do, of course, insemination with donor sperm, husband sperm. We can do it without hormones or with hormones. We do IVF. We also do microinsemination if your husband's sperm is really poor quality. And we can do, of course, treatment with donor sperm. And we do both short and long protocols. We do oocyte donation. We do both anonymous and open donation. And we also do double donation. We collaborate with a lot of clinics in Sweden and Norway because we know that it can be difficult for you to come here. If you could please change the slide. And that's why we understand that traveling to Denmark every time you're going to do an ultrasound scan can be quite difficult. So if you don't see a city that is close to you, please contact us at StorkKlinik and we can help you to find a clinic close by where you can have your scans and just come to the clinic to have your procedures. So let me just show you the results of the treatments that we do. Like I said, that we are fertility expert and we're very proud of our results. And as you can see, both for IVF treatment and also treatment with frozen embryos, inseminations, and oocyte donations, we are proud of the results and we think that, well, it could be good for you as well to come to the clinic. So why choose to go to the StorkKlinik with also a lot of great clinics in both Sweden and Norway? As I said, we have 20 years of experience. We are experts. We're proud of our results. And also when you come to the StorkKlinik, you have the freedom of choice. And we do take pride in our work. And we listen to what you want and the wishes for your treatment. So it can be the perfect way for you to start your family. Because we make families and we would like to help to make yours. You can learn more on social media, but now I would like to give the word to Marie-Louise, who will tell you more about picking a donor from European Sperm Bank.
Thank you very much, Catherine. I am from, as said before, from European Sperm Bank. As you can see, we were founded in Copenhagen in 2004. And shortly after, we opened up several offices in Denmark. And for the last few years, we opened up in London and also in Hamburg. And that was also to try to recruit more different kind of donors, more phenotypes, and also more open donors. And right now we have more than both open and anonymous donors, but more than 500 available donors online. Our average donor is, as you can see here, but I can tell you they're actually very nice young men and they are very easy to work with because else we won't have them. They have excellent sperm quality and I will come into that later on. They apply online and we try to recruit them at Facebook and other social medias, gyms, studio portals, universities, everywhere. And some of them they just heard of from a friend and said, okay, he's a sperm donor, I would also like to become a sperm donor. And then they apply online. And we have two types of donors. They're open donors, anonymous donors. They choose themselves and they're interviewed several times so they know which type of program they go into. Because when you're an open donor, that means that the child can get access to your identity or contact when he or she is 18. They get the same paid, so it's got nothing to do with money, whether they choose either or. And luckily for us, we have more donors that choose to be open. You get the same kind of information, the same kind of family history, same kind of genetics test, everything. Even if it's anonymous or open donors. It's nothing different about that. And now when you read that more than 80% of them get rejected, it sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. So when we have 100 young men applying, it's only 5 to 7 that goes through the entire program. But what's in the 80 of them that a lot of them can actually become fathers, but they don't have this high quality as we are heading for. And some of them actually has good quality, but the sperm cannot survive being frozen almost minus 200 degrees and cannot survive the thawing rate again. So that's one of the main reasons why it's 8% drop off in the beginning.
So when you say super sperm, we really mean super
It
sperm.
really is super sperm, yeah, because that can survive everything. Yeah, I can assure you about that.
With breeding material.
Yeah, exactly. And it takes actually a while before they apply, and now we have this program where they have to go through these 7 steps. And depending, it's young men, so depending on how much they come into all their meeting points. And so that can take, if they are fast and they come in every time they have an appointment, it takes 3 months. If they don't, or they go on holiday or Roskilde Festival or something else, it takes a little bit longer, then sometimes up to 6 months before they are ready up for sale. And then they start donating, and we constantly test them. First of all, there's all this genetic testing, and then later on, everything is released in batches. So it's negative on HIV and hepatitis and chlamydia and everything when we reach it out for sale. So sometimes you look at the website and there might be 0 in stock, but the donor is available. Then you can always ask, but you can always wait maybe a month or 2, mark him as a favorite, and as soon as something else will be released for standard, then you will be notified. And how about choosing a donor and what is right for your family? Well, I would go with the guts or with the feeling in my stomach, and definitely choose by heart. And maybe you have a husband, maybe you already have a father, but you just need to borrow some DNA somewhere else in town. And maybe that's why anonymous donors is more important to you. Maybe if you don't have, or you're single, or you would like to give your child an option later on in life, then you should choose an open donor. And you can always call us and ask if you have any doubt, but this is the main thing that you should choose. We screen our donors for a lot. So they are healthy young men, but still all of us are a healthy carrier of at least 5 to 10 genetic disorders of some kind, but you're healthy. But if you have any doubt about that, we also have this product called GeneX Match, where you can match up to the donor that you prefer. And then will be a match or a non-match. So that would also be an option. And we also have social media where you can follow us, and we'll be very happy if you do so. And yes, contact us if you have any further questions.
And of course, we know choosing a sperm donor can be very difficult, and can be an obstacle and something that it's a barrier that you have to go over. And I think it's a great decision. I've heard that from lots of women. I'm a fertility doctor, and you're an expert from European Sperm Bank. And of course, we try to listen to you and try to guide you as well as we can. But with all the things that we can say, I think it's much better to hear from somebody who's actually been in that position, who's actually taking the decision about choosing a sperm donor as the father of the children. So, Holly, would you please share your experience with us?
I most certainly will, yes. Hello. Can you hear me okay, firstly? You can, great. So, for me, I went down the path on my own because I got to the stage where I hadn't found Mrs. Right yet. And having been brought up by a single father, and I thought, well, he managed to pull off the mammoth quest on his own when I was 4, my brother was 6, and I thought, right, it's my time to go down this path also. And I don't know, I just felt like I was financially strong enough to. I felt like I was in the right mindset, and I wanted it so much, which I think is one of probably the most important things that you do need on this journey, is to ensure that you're ready, mind, body, and soul, because it is very much an arduous task, but it's one that once you get to the other side is richly rewarding. And now I have 2 beautiful children as a result of determination, gut instincts, and of course the amazing people at Stork and European Sperm Bank. So I feel very grateful for all the help and guidance that I've had from my side.
So, Holly, could you please tell us a little bit about the considerations, what was it that made you take a step to do this?
It's essentially to do with just instinct and feeling like my body clock was ticking quite loudly, and if I didn't grab the bull by the horns, that I might miss this window. And I just knew that in order to get from A to B, I had to go down the path on my own, and I had to conceptualize how I was going to make the family that I'd imagined in my head happen. And it's sort of, it was putting the Lego bricks together and ensuring that the end product was this, the family that I'd always dreamed of.
So what was the most difficult decision for you?
I think it probably what actually was choosing the donor, because it's obviously very extreme form of dating in a way, and as Marie said, it's actually, I think, being guided by gut feeling was definitely my modus operandi. Was what definitely was intrinsically in my stomach, was like, this is my guy. And I've actually found the audio file to be the most productive in terms of ensuring that I'd made the right decision. And and once you decide on which donor you want to go with, it's like you're this ferocious person on the first date that is just determined to make the magic happen with this other human being, and to merge your DNA with this fantastic guy that's made a decision which has made my life a much happier and wonderful place.
I've heard from other women. I know that you also tried several times before it was successful. I've heard some women that they are actually a bit concerned about being alone in this process. They've had a fertility treatment. It's so hard. It's extremely hard, and it can go up and down. It's like being in a roller coaster. So, what did you do? Did you have any kind of network? Did you use your family or friends going through the process? Also, with the disappointments that you had along the way?
Yeah, I mean, it is a very challenging path that you go down, and it does have highs and lows. But to be honest, it's fantastic ammunition for parenthood. I mean, today alone, I've dropped my son off at school for the first time since the pandemic happened, and I was in floods of tears in the playgrounds, and and then half an hour later, I was ecstatic because I could hear my daughter giggling downstairs whilst I was working. So I think, yes, it is, there are highs and lows on the quest for, getting pregnant, but I think it's invaluable experience in terms of, just everything that comes with motherhood. So yeah, I'm actually, in some respects, I think it's an excellent training camp.
You live in the UK, so you chose to actually travel to Denmark for fertility treatment. So if some of our listeners or viewers are actually considering going from another country to Denmark, do you have any tips or tricks or anything that they could learn from?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, for me personally, I loved the fact that I was going to somewhere that I didn't necessarily know inside and out. I liked the idea that I was a stranger essentially going to what felt like a sort of secret place that I wanted to explore post the treatment. And also I think Copenhagen, in my opinion, and I've been very lucky, I've traveled a lot. I think it's an unbelievably sophisticated and beautiful city. And I know many of my friends who have had success with other clinics in really high profile places in Harley Street, etc. And the environments are very clinical, and and with Stork, it's like walking into a boutique hotel. So it felt like I was doing something luxurious for me. It felt like, it was quite hard to wrap my head around the process if I really broke it down, but the environment was so inviting and so warm and lovely that it just felt like it was a treat. A pampering session almost.
We have a question about how old was Holly when she started out, and how long did it take before you became pregnant?
I was 36 when I first started, and yeah, it took me a good year to get the show on the road. But I think any woman who's tried to become pregnant will tell you that it becomes an obsession. And one thing I have realised the older that I become is that I'm a very determined woman. So I became relentless in terms of, attempt after attempt. And sometimes I just listened to my body and my mind and just said, no, I just need to pause this and give myself a month off of, drinking wine with my friends and not worrying about caffeine and all the rest of it, and take stock and start again. And I think it comes down to the individual in terms of the increments that you do it between attempts. But for me, I wanted it so badly that I kept getting back on the horse over and over again. And but yeah, I mean, one thing I will say, which I've found to be beneficial for me, is that I usually booked flexi flights, so that I with your cycle, it's even with the best kits available on the market, there is still quite a large window in terms of becoming fertile and getting to that point. So with booking flexi flights, I was able just to sort of tweak it accordingly. And I think also for me, I got a huge amount of benefit about just being in the moment and enjoying the city, and instead of sort of rushing around and getting on a flight home immediately, because I don't think that's very relaxing. And one of the important factors, as many people know, is trying to be calm, even though everything's raging inside and screaming, I want this now. Like, it's really important that you try and just relax and for it to be as calm and tranquil setting as possible.
One more question. What about the method, IVF, IUI? Which method did you go with, and how did you end up with that method?
So I had, in the end, I had 6 IUI attempts, actually for each of my children. So 6 is now officially my lucky number. And actually, Stork were brilliant in that in my 5th attempt for my second child, who is now my beautiful daughter Silka, they actually said, listen, Holly, if you don't get pregnant upon your 6th IUI attempt, I think it's time that we ramped it up and we gave into IVF. And I was prepared for that, emotionally and financially. So it was, Silka arrived just in the nick of time.
Right. So that is usually what we advise to do. Of course, like I said, we do an individual assessment of every woman that comes to the clinic. We try to do it as natural as we can, but some women would have diseases like endometriosis, PCOS, or something that can maybe make it a little bit more difficult to become pregnant. They could have blocked tubes. So we'll try to find the best treatment in order to find the most efficient way to get you pregnant. So we'll do this individual assessment every time. And that's why it's so important for us to have a good consultation the first time, to find out what is the history, also which kind of medicine do you take, and to find out a lot about you before we will advise any kind of treatment. So I think, do you have more questions?
I think it would be good to hear how Holly chose her donor, maybe which type of donor, and a few more words maybe about how that difficult decision was made.
Yeah. Could you hear that, Holly? She's muted her microphone, I think.
Can you hear me then? This is, I think, the sound quality seems to drop. Apologies when I'm talking in terms of hearing you, but as long as you can hear me, that's great. In terms of choosing my donor, it's like, for me, it was it was intrinsically important that I chose an open donor. I have many friends that have chosen anonymous donors, and I respect their decisions, but personally, I didn't want to take that option away from my child. And it's hard enough being a teenager and being a parent of a teenager who's screaming, "Mum, why didn't you choose an open donor? I don't know how to even begin to search for my heritage." So I just, for me it was very clear, I'm going for an open donor. And in terms of the actual process of deciding on my guy, I spent hours and hours and hours and hours searching and listening to the audio files. And I mean, the only problem I had with my donor is that he admitted he liked Coldplay, so I had to forgive that aspect to him. But otherwise, I was a very big fan of everything else he said, including the football team that he supported. So but it's what I think is so impressive is how detailed it is. Like, I know that my donor's auntie has green eyes and curly hair, and I know that my donor, doesn't like eating pasta dishes with chicken and all these random facts. But there's, in some respects, I know sometimes more about my donor than some of my friends know about their boyfriends. So I think it was a long-winded process, but it's, once your child arrives, you cannot imagine them not being this person. It's really hard to put your finger on it, but I can't imagine Johan and Silke not looking like Johan and Silke. They just seem to me to be my perfect family. And I can't imagine there's anyone who's chosen a donor that ever says, no, I'm not really sure, the eyes are a bit too blue. Like, you just love them so ferociously. And even when they are teething, like Silke was last night, or pulling on your dressing gown cord or whatever it is, like, the decision that you make for a donor will never be the wrong one. It will just, the universe somehow just gives you a massive tick and a smile, and you'll never regret that decision.
I think that's very good to hear. But also you can say that you never regret the children that you have, because unfortunately it's like that, because you can't return them. So it's like going into a store and buying something. So even though you have one that is a little bit related about having red hair or blonde hair, I'm sure you're gonna not return it.
There's no receipt. So
Yeah, and of course it's a very difficult decision, but also, Marie-Lise, I know that you said that there is an option also to actually do some additional testing.
So if you're concerned, if you have something in your family, it's actually possible by European Sperm Bank to have a gene X match. Could you explain a little bit about that?
I can do that. Also, if you know that you're a carrier of something in your family, then please do not hesitate us to contact, and then we can give you some genetic advisement. If you don't know, but you just have doubt, or just want to make sure that your child is going to be extra healthy, or at least to live without the first 400 kind of diseases, then we can do actually kind of simple match, which you do with the saliva kit, and you just send in the test, and it takes approximately 6 weeks, and then you'll be a match or a non-match with the donor, and that both goes for open or anonymous.
So plenty of opportunities.
Yeah, and if you are non-match, then it doesn't cost you any extra if you want to do an extra test for another donor.
It's good to know. And I know we have some more questions.
Yes, we have a question saying, is it possible to choose an open donor without choosing it yourself? Basically giving the clinic or doctor the choice, but having the opportunity to give the information to a future child.
Yes, that is possible. And you can choose either by having a talk directly with European Sperm Bank, or having the talk directly with the StorkKlinik. So we can help to choose for you. That is possible.
And another question for Holly. Did you choose to go with or without hormones?
I went without hormones for my attempts with Johan, and with Silke, I went with hormones for the last 2 attempts. And obviously I had success, so it was definitely a sensible nod from the lovely people at StorkKlinik.
Because what you could see that with increasing age, then maybe your cycle will be more irregular, and it can be necessary to use hormones in order to grow the follicles, to grow the eggs,
and also to time the exact correct time for the insemination to make sure that you will have the highest chance of pregnancy. But that is an assessment that we'll do individual, and we'll talk about it every time you have a treatment. If you do not succeed, then we'll do a plan for another treatment, and of course also listening to your concerns, but with a medical angle on it.
And a supplemental question: why, Holly, did you choose hormones for your second child?
The great thing about Stork is that I just felt that I entirely trusted them with every single guiding line that they came up with, and I genuinely felt that they wanted it as much as I did. They wanted for me to become a parent. So literally, if they'd said, right, drop and give me 10 press ups, I would have done it. Yeah, I was entirely in their hands, and I was very happy to be in their hands. And when they suggested to me, listen, we think it would be advisable to have assisted IUI and inject your stomach for attempts, I was like, yeah, count me in. I'm whatever you know, because essentially they are the experts, and the only thing I was an expert at doing was getting on a plane, coming to Copenhagen, and being very determined. And they genuinely, they helped to guide me towards my biggest ambition of all, which is to become a mum. So yeah.
One question as well about what if you travel here, hotel arrangements, all that practical stuff.
all the practical stuff that when you come to Denmark, we can help you at the clinic to find you the right hotel, and also help you find out where it's a good place to stay. And there are plenty of opportunities in Copenhagen, loads and loads of hotels. Of course, due to Corona, it's been closed down, but now they just opened up again. And coming from Norway, the borders are open now. From Sweden, you can have a letter from the clinic that can make sure that you can go through the borders without any kind of problem. So you'll be able to travel back and forth to Copenhagen with a medical letter. And like I said, now also there has been restrictions regarding how many nights that you can spend in Copenhagen, but they will be lifted now as well. So it's fairly easy to come to Copenhagen for treatment.
I think they're lifted from today. Actually.
Yes, I think so too. So you're very welcome. And right now we don't have many tourists, so you can have the entire city just for yourself. Yeah. Yes, so if we have any more questions? No, Helle is shaking her head. So that means that hopefully within the past 40 minutes, we've actually been able to answer the questions that you might have regarding starting treatment in Copenhagen. So we've heard about the advantages of coming to Denmark for fertility treatment. Most of all, that you actually have the choice of a donor, being anonymous or open, that we have a very liberal legislation in Denmark, that we try to welcome you in a very homely clinic with a very private atmosphere, and also to do an individual assessment and also listen to your needs. We're very thankful for Holly for sharing her experience with both the European Sperm Bank and the StorkKlinik. It means a lot to hear a personal history and not just listening to fertility experts, because of course we have our opinions, but it's better to hear from somebody who's been through the process and now have had 2 wonderful children. So thank you, Holly, for joining us. And we will also thank you, all the ones that tuned in and joined today's webinar. We're sorry about the technical differences and the sound issues, but we hope that the messages have come through. Do you have any closing remarks?
If you, when you're thumbed up and maybe you go to on area about in the morning and have
Any kind of question, then please do not hesitate to contact us or StorkKlinik. We'll be very, very happy to help you.
Yes, the phone lines and emails are open.
That's definitely open.
So please go out and enjoy the beautiful summer evening in Sweden and Norway, and we'll be happy to welcome you in StorkKlinik and European Sperm Bank. Thank you for joining in. Bye bye.